This is the Stop Time Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hopkins, and I'm here to engage you in thought-provoking, motivational conversations around practicing the art of living in the moment. I'm a certified life coach, and I'm excited to dig deep and offer insights into embracing who we are and where we are at. I cannot wait to chat with my next guests. I introduced you to Josh and Zach of the Brothers Page back in season 1. And if you missed that episode, I encourage you to check it out. The Brothers Page have built their multifaceted career independently by combining their unique sets of skills and honing in on the power of real connection with their fans, a connection that cannot be understated. I mean, their 1.4 million fans from across the globe have supported their weekly covers since 2011. They've received accolades from a wide range of renowned talents, such as the Jonas Brothers, the Chainsmokers, Maroon 5, One Republic, Portugal the Man, Josh Groban, and Ellen DeGeneres, to name a few. And these brothers have begun to release their highly anticipated and much needed, might I add, original music. I cannot wait to check in with them and see what's new since we last chatted. And as if that weren't exciting enough, Josh and Zach's sister Kylie is joining us today as well. So Kylie Liya Page is an actor, singer, dancer who was born in China and raised in New York. As a child, she appeared on Broadway in the 2006 revival of Les Mis, the first national tour of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Her more recent film and TV credits include, among others, Darby and the Dead, The Girl from Plainville with Elle Fanning, The Girl in the Woods, currently on Peacock. And Kylie starred in the episode 8 of the Social Distance program on Netflix, for which the New York Times singled her episode out, saying it was one of the stronger episodes and that she gave a sweet and heart-wrenching performance. Yeah, I saw that as well, and it was really wonderful. So definitely check that out. You guys, I cannot be more excited to have you here. We have a long history. Welcome, Page family.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
nice to see you.
Full disclosure to my audience is I've known these guys since they were babies.
Mm-hmm. Since we were little chicken pot pies.
Yes.
And it's
touring
been an
around the
honor
US.
to watch. Oh my God, such an honor to watch them grow and flourish and to stay connected. It's really, really cool. Really means a lot. Where are you calling in from today? Where are you guys?
We're calling him from the heart of New York City in Midtown.
And this is your place, right? This is yours and Zach's place. Is that right?
Yeah.
So Kylie, where are you living these days? Are you just visiting your brothers or what's going on?
Great question. Yeah, I kind of live nowhere right now. I'm sort of a little nomad, as I would say, because ever since I graduated school, I've just been traveling to different countries and different states and cities working. So I haven't had a chance really to settle down in a space anywhere. So I know that when I'm in New York, I'll try to sublet from friends and everything. But I think I've realized more recently that I don't really love living in a city. I need my nature, I need my quiet spaces and birds chirping. I think just like from growing up in a suburban area, that's just what I'm sort of used to. That's what gives me the most comfort. So I'm back and forth between my parents' place and here occasionally. If I have to sleep over or something, I'll crash on the couch. But I'm trying to figure out where I want to settle and put up some roots, because it's just needed right now for sure.
Yeah. How long has it been that you've been quote unquote on the road?
Like 2 years, like ever since COVID, ever since 2020. That's when I graduated college. And then I've just been traveling for the past 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you travel, and we all know that's part of, what we do as artists, right? How does it feel, the sort of going where you need to go? Like, do you think about
living
it in
out of a
retrospect?
suitcase?
Well, yeah, like it's funny because I know that feeling of when you get a gig or when you're going to do a cool project, there's that like excitement, right? Oh, I'm going. I'm hearing a little bit in what you're saying is like, yeah, I've been going a long time. Like there's a little perspective.
No, totally. It's really, really exciting for sure. I think like from the get-go, you find out you have a gig, it's amazing. They take care of all the expenses, which is super, super nice. So it's kind of just like something I've always dreamed of doing, and was a reason why I got involved with it in the first place. Was like, this was just the best way for me to see the world, visit other countries and different states and stay in different places just to, get a feel of what the rest of the world is like and different cultures and things. But it has its challenges. You live out of a suitcase. You have to, it's not the most convenient. You're always living out of a bag. You always have to repack and unpack. And so it's just an extra hassle, but it comes with incredible benefits. I get to see and do things that a lot of ordinary people, I feel like, don't get to do if you work like a 9 to 5, So there's a lot of incredible opportunity, but I think everything in the world has balance. So, you have your good and bad in it all. So you just gotta, quit complaining.
You're not complaining. I don't hear you complain. Hey, it's funny. What's one thing that you would not like travel without? What's one thing that you always pack?
I mean, like my phone, but like a real travel necessity. What do I not travel without? Oh my gosh. Okay, this one's like super personal and funny and weird. My pink blanket. I've had this blanket since I was a baby. It was the first gift that my parents ever gave me when they brought me home from China, and I've had it ever since, and I sleep with it every night. And I bring it with me on trips, and it makes me, think of home. It's got very nostalgic smells. Like even when I wash it, like it just has, the feel and everything is just very, brings me back home. It's very grounding for me. So I travel with that with me everywhere.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, how fortunate you are to have something that means that much to you.
Yeah, it's sweet.
I don't think there's anything weird about it, or I think it's wonderful. That's pretty cool. I love it. Yeah. Zach, how are you doing, man?
Doing great. Constantly, I'm always in this creative, endless epiphany growth cycle. Lots of, even just setting up these microphones made me really satisfied. Through COVID, I've developed a deep connection to engineering and just setting up the parameters for this or music or anything. So even that, it's almost like refuge. It's kind of a temple, and balancing that with creative and how to format that in the most. Right now, the mission is how to socially connect that in the quickest, most momentous way with the engineering and the creative. Like recording people is a real passion of mine.
That's cool.
Every time I record with Kylie, for example, you get used to recording your own voice, and then when you feel the elemental, what another voice brings, voices are so different, more than we realize when you see and feel the audio, and what a different word with a different singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go on and on, but yeah.
No. I could totally go off with you too, because I feel like asking you, also like the spectrum of how you're feeling, right? And how your body adjusts separately, right? So what comes out of your instrument in the context of what's going on intrinsically and extra. So we could really go there, but that's
for sure.
That's a hanging at the lake.
We do put it all in the music. We're very, very compact with like lyrics and thoughts, and like we really just want to like say what's actually going on with us. So we're trying to like get in time with releasing what we're feeling in the moment, instead of feeling something, working on it for 2 years, releasing it, and then going, oh, I already feel all these other things. So we're trying to lock our reality with our releases a little bit more.
And to add to that, the engineering, if it's optimized, what you make can be heard within an hour, and it can be really high quality. That's what makes me obsessed with it, is that if you optimize a template of this is how this voice sounds with this microphone, technically you could have that ready to share within an hour or a day. So that whenever I'm troubleshooting engineering things, it's always in pursuit of the dream of immediately sharing in high quality, in real time, whatever song or moment is happening right now. And it's kind of an endless pursuit, but getting closer.
That's super cool, because really you're talking about, and it's a great segue too, you're really talking about capturing the moment. You know how I talk about being in the moment? Well, you're like sort of, it sounds like you're super cognizant that, if you hang on too long, you're going to lose the moment, right?
Yeah.
And it's like this idea of maybe capturing the flow, capturing the moment, right?
And the universe loves making magic when things aren't recording. So if you don't have, like, literally loves doing that, if you actually do something, don't record it and record it, the magic will be when you didn't record.
Yeah.
I was working with a band out west, and last time we had these magic takes that weren't recorded, and it haunts me. Yeah. So that's what it inspires me to. Yeah. It's
being
funny.
haunted by the unrecorded perfect moment, and then the universe is just winking at you.
Yeah.
Like, can you do it again?
You know, this crazy question comes up for me. Did you guys growing up believe in Santa Claus?
Yeah. I mean, to the degree where like there will always be a part of myself that I won't allow to not believe.
Me too.
Just because that to me is the nature of belief, is that if you do believe in something, it presents itself. And then if you don't, then that's the reality that you're going to be, living.
I could go deep into this, but obviously the human mind and heart has the potential to believe something that isn't real is. And I think people focus on so much what actually is real or isn't, but what really is happening is when you believe a certain thing is real, it feels a certain way. Believing Santa Claus is real has an emotional feeling. Your heart and your mind and your circulatory system shifts dramatically if you
have something to believe.
Think about what acting is like. When like the emotion is actually real, and it's changing how reality feels to believe something. So it's more about, what does reality feel like if I believe this is real, than is this real? And acting is such proof of that.
Yeah. No, the reason I asked too was what made me think of it just then. It wasn't one question I was going to ask you. Is because when you're talking about capturing the moment, my mind went to, when you put cookies out and you try to catch Santa, but you never do, because Santa's an essence. Santa is whatever you want to believe it. And then if he took a bite or he didn't take a bite, like that whole like essence of magic and wanting to believe, that's where my brain went.
That's so
there is
cool.
a futility to it. Yeah, like, because you can get very attached to.
Plus, let's be honest, all those presents don't just
appear out of nowhere.
Appear out of nowhere.
That can't just be people buying things. Like,
it's like
it would be too much of a job for Santa to not exist.
Yeah, it's interesting. Setting up the cookies is just making sure that all of your stuff is like ready and prepared, to hopefully capture the best moment.
Create space for a little magic.
It's almost like imagining Christmas night without any of that. It's almost like a movie with no score. Yeah. Like once you start to feel the cookies and the mystery and the nibbling, it almost just starts to feel like a movie that has music scoring it and colors. So it's almost, it's really cool to be conscious of the fact that you can add color and music to, that's kind of what's
and then
happening.
Balancing the shadow side would be, for Santa to exist, the Grinch has to exist as well. You can't just pick one or the other.
I can really distinguish between totally logically knowing that Santa's not actually coming down the thing, and he's not leaving those presents. My parents did that because I saw them hidden in the closet, but that does not take away the magic, or me looking up into the stars at the night, and seeing something red and going, that's Rudolph's nose. And wanting to believe that and wanting to perpetuate that, because it's a feeling. Right? So interesting. I'd actually be really curious to know a little bit from each of you about what you consider to be your origin story, but not like where did you come from so much as like where did you come into knowing or feeling or hearing a calling to be an artist? When's your first memory of that as you were growing up, or whatever that conjures up for you?
I think for a lot of performers, and definitely for me, there's a period in your childhood where you just feel different, where you're just not into a lot of the things that other people are into. I was never into sports or any of that, and there were many years where I didn't really feel like I was good at anything in academia or any of that. And then in elementary school, there are those moments, okay, we're going to do a show, we're doing Fiddler on the Roof, we're doing Music Man. And then there were these like pivotal auditions where even just like singing Happy Birthday or the national anthem to decide if you're going to be in your elementary school musical, there's that first taste of feeling like you might excel at something. And then going, oh, maybe it's okay if I'm not interested in other things, or I'm not good at other things if this is my path. So yeah, that was my first taste of it, was being in elementary school, not really being interested in sports, and every single other person was. And then they did this show, and I was, you know, a 5th grade Tevye with charcoal beard. And
I also remember it was super unifying in that all the kids who played sports, who were friends, were super supportive and excited, and it kind of bridged everyone together in a really cool way. And
it was like,
parents,
I guess a part of him makes sense now. Yeah, okay.
The same way
he's
when
the
they
one that
score
does
a
that.
goal, everyone can feel together, appreciative of them.
Yeah.
It's similar to when you performed.
You're trying to make sense of yourself, and then when you do, you make sense to other people a little bit more.
And but what's a healthy way to have attention when you do good work? Yeah.
So that was my taste of it. What about you?
Praise. For me, I mean, my journey was a little different. I think I just always had a really big, outgoing, bubbly personality. And I think taking after these two, you know, watching them grow up doing theater and everything, like I feel like for me it was a mixture of luck a little bit too. Like I kind of did do everything. You know, I did do sports, I did gymnastics, I was dancing, I was singing, I was a do it all kind of kid. And opportunities presented themselves to me. And then I just got lucky and I got them. And so I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, similarly to what you were saying about like life having a path and it kind of shows you the way, like that's like, I really feel like rang true for me because I was presented opportunities and it was like, what are you going to do? Like you're 7 years old and someone's like, oh, you want to be in a Broadway show? It's like, yeah, I want to be I'm 7 years old. Like, absolutely. So, you know, you take it, you know? So it's like, yeah, like in certain ways, a lot of things were handed to me early on and I was very excited about them. And, you know, I think there have been times where I've questioned for sure, like, is this what I want to be doing? Is this what I'm meant to be doing? You know, just because I was so young and so much was already handed to me. But I had very memorable moments throughout high school. I went to LaGuardia. I was a drama major at LaGuardia Arts High School. And we were performing all the time. We were doing plays and, you know, musicals. And there were a lot of moments throughout my lifetime where I was like, oh yeah, like this feels good. This feels right. This is the way that I can express myself. I'm good at this. You know, people think I'm good at this. And just many random reminders, you know, whether it was the community of people, how it made me feel, different things that solidified, oh yeah, like this is what I'm meant to do and I'm good at it and it brings me joy. So
you had a bit of fearlessness.
Yeah, that's
you know, if there was one thing that did separate you from the other kids, or you know, because it's hard to see that in yourself, but I feel like I struggle with that. But you are very, very fearless when it comes to putting yourself out there.
I think I'm fearless in general.
Yeah, so that helps. It helps not second guess yourself. And you have to be in a million vulnerable positions, and you know, sharing that part of yourself. When you're a little kid and you're in a room and you're performing for the adults behind the table and they're writing things down, and you know, that can be impossible for the wrong personality.
Yeah, I had a very weird sense, or I wouldn't say weird. I guess it's kind of cool, but it is kind of extraordinary. My sense of self and my confidence, even so young, it was just like ridiculous. Like I kind of just didn't care. I was like, this is me, take it or leave it. Like that's just been me forever, which is definitely, I think, something that's extraordinary.
It's
if I do
really
say so myself. No. I'm amazing.
You can say extraordinary about yourself, but you can't say extraordinary.
Yeah, extraordinary.
This circles right into what I'm feeling, where it's a reoccurring theme for me, where I default into a very shy, closed off side when I was younger, and still every so often I'm presented with an opportunity, like from my heart, to become the opposite of someone who's very shy and closed off. And my earliest memories of that opportunity before music or any performance was being a shy kid in school, but then like in my heart feeling joke opportunities to become class clown on like a role of a certain momentous thing where I heard a joke or felt it in my heart, and it's like, wait, no one else is feeling this joke. And then if you voice it, it starts to make this like this lightning bolt of the opposite of being shy, where everyone is, you threw something out and then everyone is buzzing or laughing off of it. And I remember getting very hooked on that analyzing it now, it was me becoming the opposite of what I was by default. All of a sudden you become like, in a moment, you can become the king of extroversion when you're just the shyest person in the room. If from your heart, you get the right sequence of words in the right moment, and similar to what songs are. And that has evolved and transformed throughout my life. And I remember our grandma signed us up for a theater summer camp when we were super rebelliously like, we don't want to do that. Then I remember the same thing in the room where the kids weren't super engaged. So they would say, here's a part. Does anyone who wants this part? Like, it wasn't even audition based. It was just if I said, like, no one else is saying they want this part, it's like, I'll take that part. And then everyone's like, oh, I'll take it. And then I like, same as being a class clown, I kept getting addicted to, as a shy kid, this is my opportunity to become my opposite. And it's the same with music. And it's a serious blessing to have that, because if I don't take advantage of those opportunities, I become very isolated from reality and social life. And that's still a recurring theme, very, very much. And I never fully saw it from that perspective. And it circles right into what you're talking about, energetic leadership.
But there was like a time in your youth where like language was trapped inside, and then it kind of like flooded open like a dam, and suddenly he was like talking as proficiently as the guitar had been, but it's like it had to be practiced on an instrument first, and then it built up and went boom.
And some of that came from that security I felt from the guitar led me to be able to really practice for hours, because it was a direct channel. The more I do this, the more I can have this kind of very secure identity through my guitar. So I became like incredibly technically proficient. And then if you go far enough there, the criticism will be, you have great technique, but no soul, which is connected to creativity for sure. So then that just inevitable lawful critique of being a really technically proficient player led me to just dive deep into, okay, what does that actually mean? And how do you make someone say the opposite? Like what could you play? Like, if you play Bach with beautiful vibrato, you have soul. If you play really fast stuff, you're technically proficient, but you don't have soul. So almost like a scientist.
You just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, you just read my mind.
Take the emotion away, and like, what makes humans say something has soul, and what makes humans say something is technically proficient but lacking in soul. And then that led me into into production, songwriting, classical music.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What really stands out to me, and you nailed it, then you literally just took the words out of my head. Well, I was just saying it's almost like science, and you said it. I was like, what am I, a ventriloquist or what?
Dude, that's my engineering side too, is the comfort of that scientist thing, because you could drive yourself crazy if you stay in your emotions and try to digest like someone saying you're not playing with soul. It's like that could really mess you up. But if you I always go back, and every human has their own taste threshold of what will make them praise something. And each one that's like this, I kind of am always on a scientific level figuring out what ticks each different one. And I think that's made a bit of a shield for me with criticism, because I just go right to scientists with criticism.
Totally. Well, you know what really, really stands out to me, if I can just point out, just from my perspective, like listening to the three of you, there's a massive distinction between the two of you, Josh and Zach, and Kylie, that I'm hearing loud and clear. One is, and they're opposites. Hers is literally, I don't know, I just did it. It came to me. I did it. I was good at it, and it was fun. There's no calculating. There's just trusting the process, going for it. And there's also no attachment whatsoever to what people think. But everything that you guys said, this is not a criticism, it's just an observation, had to do with being a conduit for either making people understand or being able to say something that makes people, like, it's connected to others, either what they think of you for your safety or what you can offer them for their betterment, right? Like it's kind of both. And it's so interesting to me that, what do you think about that? Yeah.
I was going to say, I was like just having this conversation the other day with a friend of mine, but just like how our identities really are built through others. Like we all need each other. I think like a lot of people like to say that, you can be independent and, F what other people think and all of that. But it's just like, I really feel like you start to find a sense of self through other people, and not necessarily, you know, letting them sort of construct you. But I feel like even in little conversations, you know, you learn about yourself through other people. They start to bring to life a little bit of what I think is on the inside, and you start to become conscious of it because, you know, whether it's through a dialogue, whether it's through doing an activity together, you know, you're still intaking information about yourself through something with someone else. If you were just sitting alone all the time, it's harder to really see what you are without others. And I think that we all share that, where it's, you know, our natural talents, you know, people watch us and they are expecting things or whatever, and that makes us start to question, oh, what do we do up here? Like, we're all standing on a stage, everyone's looking at us, like, what do we do? And then that challenges our creativity, and that's why we've decided to become creators. But, you know, without the people sort of putting the spotlight on us, you know, we might have done something else. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Kai was always like, her first taste of young social life, she was fearless and effortless and a bit of a leader. And I think with Zach and I, it was a little bit of the opposite, and we had to like find our way to what worked for us in a different way, maybe with a little bit more creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And yeah, I mean, that's interesting because, you know, I mean, even still, she can fearlessly, you know, sometimes, you know, I have to put my Kylie hat on if I'm going to approach somebody in a certain way, and just, you know, because I would go like, oh, should I talk to that person that I can hear? And it's like, why not? Yeah, just go up and say hi. Like, why would you even overthink that? And it's like, okay, yeah, so I should.
It's really fascinating hearing your analysis of us being opposites, because there's definitely, like, whenever I record our vocals, I can feel there's some kind of fundamental archetypal elemental balance. There's like fire, water, and earth. Like, they're each different, and I can feel it, but it's something I've really yet to analyze in a scientific way. So it's really fascinating to start to do that. But it was fascinating to hear your perspective.
Well, it's fascinating to hear you guys talk, because another thing that I observed was that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Kylie had it modeled. She had the arts modeled. She grew up in a family that was already doing the arts. So despite how you guys got there, or what you did, or what your origin was, she grew up in it. So chances are she could see it. It was modeled, right? It's like when people say, well, no one ever modeled it, so I didn't know I could do it. Whereas it was such a part of your family that she didn't have to go, God, I feel really shy, or, you know, I'm from China, or whatever it is, and I need to fit it. You know what I mean? She wasn't looking at that. She was looking at probably a more typical reason why people go into the arts, because it looks like fun, or because wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Or I was inspired when I saw Fred Astaire dance, or, you know, like you guys didn't say that. Like, it's really interesting. Sometimes I ask that question. People are like, oh, I saw this and I had to do it. Something came up in me. But she grew up watching you guys doing it. So the question of, is it possible, was not a question. Clearly it's possible.
I always forget that.
Wow.
It's so interesting that you just said that. I literally always forget that part of it. It's like, yeah, I grew up watching them on stage, hanging out with their friends, like in costumes, like just such a fun life. And like, yeah, I was totally influenced.
Wow.
And it was
But
modeled.
she was already more successful than us by the time she was 10 years old.
Okay, well,
that's because she didn't know any different other than it can be done.
Well, for us, for me, it wasn't, oh, that's fun. For me, that's terrifying. I'm enticed, right?
But
that's different than,
That's because I would say that's probably because you're the oldest too, right? So you're the first. So, I mean, I don't think your parents, I mean, your dad's a lawyer, right? Your parents
He's a lawyer, but he had the same archetype of, I did a show when I was in school. I loved it. I excelled at it. And then I never did it again.
Oh, interesting.
So he had that story.
You never saw it modeled in your family. Like, you didn't grow up seeing your parents.
Not besides the stories of, well, when I was in high school, I played Danny Zuko in Grease and you know, all that.
Tiny little glimpses that can't be belittled. Like, there was a guitar in the house, and he did strum chords on it.
He would play trumpet really loud
guitar
sometimes.
And trumpet. So I'm fascinated by the difference between a child growing up in a house that has a guitar in it or doesn't. because it's a huge difference. And there was a guitar in the house, and we did see our dad play it sometimes.
That's true.
Mhm.
Sometimes.
Well, and your parents, I mean, I know your parents, so they absolutely encouraged the arts, clearly. Now, whether they were encouraging the arts because of the arts or because you guys seem to like the arts, I don't know. That's interesting to me.
Probably the latter.
Because you guys seemed interested in it?
Yeah, I think so.
Interested, but also
Good.
competent. Yeah, like once the technique got to a level, my mom's like, okay, this teacher's saying this is not common. I should find a classical guitar mentor and really prioritize.
Mhm.
But we've never heard either parent confidently sing a note in their life.
Yeah.
So, and I always wonder with that, because I'm always like, I feel like it's in there, because how could it not be? You know, like if you were suddenly in somebody's body as a singer and they said, oh, I'm not a singer their entire life, would you suddenly be able to resonate in a way that they've just like never got off the training wheels? Or, you know, like how could my dad be such a similar archetype but not also have some high notes in there? And maybe he just hasn't experienced it yet.
He is a lovely whistler. He's an
He's a wonderful
insane whistler.
So there's a little, you know, there's a little
Insane.
seed of melody in there.
It's crazy.
Sure.
But
Sure.
that-
I would
breath
love to
control.
write. Yeah, I want to write.
Well, and we have,
Yeah.
I mean, we have our ancestors in us, right? So
Yeah.
whether or not
Yeah.
it was in that generation or not but I think just in terms of
Totally.
human experience, right? You had Josh, right? Josh, how much older are you than Zach?
3
years, right?
Yeah.
And then Kylie, how much younger are you than
I think
Zach?
she's 8 younger than
8
me.
from you, 5 from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, by the time that she came on the scene to be conscious enough to see what you were doing, you guys had already done a lot, right?
Yeah.
So-
yeah, in this way that felt like, yeah, it's almost a ticking timer. You'll sing, you'll do. Whereas
Yeah.
for us, it was like, try
Yeah.
singing. Yeah, it was this weird.
Yeah,
And
you
your
guys,
parents
kind of
adopted-
paved the way.
She was probably adopted the exact year that we first kind of tasted it a little.
That's
so cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, how old were you when you were adopted?
Like a couple of months. I was
Oh my
really
God, see,
little.
that's interesting. So, yeah,
Yeah.
she grew up in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Kylie, as the youngest sibling,
Yeah.
what, like, do you remember, like, what did you admire and emulate from your brothers? And then what, what distinctions did you sort of deliberately make?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a loaded question. I guess because like it's interesting that we're talking about just all of us growing up together and how obviously they paved the way for me. And I grew up in this very, art loving family. It's interesting. I'm thinking now and digesting and processing how that has affected me, and it has totally shaped who I am, and thinking, I can be whatever I want. I can do whatever I want just because we were such a diverse family. I think in our skills and the things that we believed we could do, and like our communities of people, like, it was just like, I can be whoever I want to be. So I think that's the biggest thing that I think I took was just, just have the courage, get on up there. I guess just, yeah, because you guys did it and I didn't see your nerves. I didn't see your guys, the way that you guys internalized about it. I didn't see any of that. I just saw you rocking out on stage. I saw you singing, you guys always had tons of friends. And I was like, okay, sick. Like, we're just baller. Like they gave me a lot of confidence, and I was just, I was like just their adorable younger sister, and everybody loved me and embraced me right away. And so I just felt super cool. Just felt really cool from a really young age. But then, yeah, distinct differences was, I think that, I think our ages definitely was a big differentiator. They were always, in similar grades or had similar friends. Like they were just my older brothers. Like I was just so much farther away from them. It felt like 8 years is a long time. I feel it's like almost 10 years. Like that's a very big age gap. So I think the age gap is really what, I feel like, yes, we all grew up together, but I felt like you guys were able to hang out way more. Also, they're brothers, video games, whatever, like hanging out more. Whereas because I was so much younger, I was hanging out with my friends, doing, different things at different times. You guys were going to festivals and I was like just starting high school, so it was like I was in a different chapter of my life. So I think that just by our ages, that has shaped why I am so different, but yet so similar. I also think that something common between all of us, like talent aside, I feel like there is a sort of drive, determination, and maybe a little bit of perfectionism when it comes to success. We all want to succeed, I think, in the things that we know how we best can, and putting that foot forward in certain given situations. Like, I feel like when eyes are on us, it is a common thing where we just like, figure out, okay, what's something that we excel in, no matter what it is. And I feel like that drive for success, and putting your best foot forward, I think was implemented a bit in our parenting. Like, I think our mom, she's a very strong driving force for I think all of us, and how she influenced us to tackle opportunities and how to present ourselves to the world with just, our best foot forward.
She's super skilled in training and preparing dogs and horses for shows. Her devotion to that is almost parallel to how she supported our training creatively.
I'm curious to know, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to say about you?
I want people to go to our music as like a little bit of a yogic antidote to how reality is creating suffering. So a lot of times when we make a song, we're really just trying to make ourselves feel better. Not like feel better, but we're trying to
Heal.
Yeah, we're trying to heal the part of ourself that is suffering a little bit, I think. And it's almost like trying to scratch at an itch. So I would hope that if other people are feeling those same complicated emotions, I want people to go, oh, I'm feeling this way. I know which song I need to listen to.
I think that's why our first answer to what do we want to be remembered for boiled down to, we want our fireball to still exist after we're no longer burning it physically.
If the universe is conscious, it has a sense of humor, and it shows that to you in different moments, right? It's like these little ironies and these synchronicities.
We'll lighten up here a little bit, and I want you to just take a moment to think, without telling me, if you had to choose one adjective to describe each of the other two, what would it be? So just think about it and lock it in before you share it.
Oh man, I'm not gonna second guess the first thing.
I know, it's like I put so much pressure on it. It's like, it's an adjective.
The interesting thing about the exercise is not what word you choose, but what process you're going through to choose it, because that's where that's where the learning is. So what's going on in your head right now, Kai?
I'm just starting to think of so many different adjectives for both of for their wide range of personalities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, there's so much. Like, I don't like. So I'm like, what do you mean by like one adjective?
There's no right answer. I'm not attached to what I mean. I am really curious to know, because what will happen when your brain gets kind of an ambiguous, it's not ambiguous, but there's so many choices. Your brain starts to try to qualify stuff, right? So whether if you're a very heart-centered person, which I'm, with your brothers, you probably are, you might sort of already be blocking out, oh, I wouldn't want to say that in public, or even though I felt that, or if you're caring more about me as the host, you might be going, I wonder what she wants. Or if you're thinking more ego-centered about yourself, you're like, oh, what will I sound like if I say this, right? So try if you can to like
ignore all that
and tap into maybe where you feel it in your body, because sometimes
ooh, that's cool.
if pass it through your body and wherever you feel it more.
I don't want to assign words to you guys because you both share a lot of, so I'm trying to think of the difference.
What about you, Zach? Do you have yours?
I felt them in my heart, and they're the first ones, and I'll preface them by saying, is this from a very emotional place? These words are coming from a narrative where there's this mission of service that is not a sure thing and needs
that's so cool words. So how about you just say the words, but you don't tell me who they're assigned to?
Oh, sure, go for it
if you feel like it.
Yeah. First one, support. Second, reinforcement.
So So Kylie and Josh, tell me which one of those words you identified with. Which one kind of you felt first?
Oh, I can't tell which one he means for either of us, to be honest.
Me either, but I
I'm not trying to get you to guess what
I
who
know,
it was
but
for.
that is the truth.
What you
what do
identify,
you resonate?
how you identify with the words that he said.
Yeah, I think Zach is the source of creation, and then we're like the front line of helping it be ready to be shared.
I agree.
And that same creative energy without support and reinforcement has a sad life sometimes, historically. Though that's the Icarus that flies too close to the sun. So, yeah.
I think support for me was just like, I think like being a younger sibling, sort of supporting and sharing my opinion on how I'm receiving things, their work, and just being always supportive. I always want to be supportive of everything they do. The reinforcement, I think, is also, I think we can all take credit for our sort of, we can trust, I think, our opinions and what we think is great. And so I think that might be sometimes where the reinforcement comes in for me, is just like, I think reinforcing certain ideas or how things are, unless I'm totally not thinking reinforcement is the definition I have in my head, but like, you know what I mean?
I don't
like,
want to interrupt, but I'll add one thing after.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have anything.
No, for me, the reinforcement can mean like supporting more, but the image and energy in my head is Gandalf coming down the hill with the army at the darkest hour, when you have your cause and your support, but things are dwindling and the hope is going low, and then Gandalf comes and so it's almost in a very emotional like service way, but almost in this like military, like there is a battle to fulfill the service that you have the potential to provide to the world. And there's going to be times where you need reinforcements, and there's going to be times where in addition to the support, and
those are good.
Then it's a sure. It's just like that can be as close to a sure thing as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of what it feels like to record you guys on a song or something. It feels like the single warrior. And
that's the best part of making music together, is that as producers. And when you're self-producing and, when you're balancing it between 3 ears and getting it to a place where everybody feels good about it, is that how much you embody who you are helps create that balance in a mix is something that I think we are very enamored by.
Like, do you remember recording on Heartbreak Song? And it's some release now, but every time we hear it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like
reinforcement.
Gandalf. Yeah. But in a really emotional, profound way, where it's kind of like, whoa, thank God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Do I do my words now?
Yeah.
Whimsical and fearless.
I love that.
That's cool. Yeah. Cool.
Oh my gosh. Mine dwindled down finally to passion and intensity.
Very good words.
Yeah. What's your guys' response to that, Zach and Josh? That's interesting.
We definitely both have some of each, but I'm probably intensity. Maybe. You think no? Her expression would suggest no.
I'm a neutral.
Yeah,
I have a poker face that no one. Yeah, my poker face is pretty good.
Do whatever you think you are.
I think I'm in intensity, but I don't know. Not, it depends on what part of you is being
exactly.
eliminated.
That's why I like my adjectives, because I was like, it really
She's trying
depends.
to make
Well, also, I think it
really depends.
It was difficult because we have, I remember the times where I was your total opposite in my identity, and I remember the conversations where I started to let your perspective into my actual heart and mind merge with it. I, in my nature, am the shy artist who doesn't care about external anything. numbers mean nothing. It's all about you could be alone in the room forever, just soothing your soul, and that's enough. Don't worry about any external reality. And then Josh has an instinct that's like, yes, but compared to what that could be, that is like potentially almost like tragic, that soul is all alone in the room.
Can you finish this phrase? We'll go one by one. Most people think that Josh is, but the truth is.
It is a dumbfounding one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't care for most people's perception of me at all.
Yeah.
So I don't, probably as a defensive mechanism, but I don't try to think about what people think about me very often, because I do think I'm very misunderstood. Most people think that Josh is probably just that I'm confident when really I'm vulnerable. I think that's the most simple way of putting it.
I think mine is, most people think Kylie is careless because I can be very carefree and fun and just like do my own thing. But the thing is, I actually care a lot. Not like about what people think about me. I think I care about the right things, which is like, you know, this also kind of ties into like what legacy I want to leave. And I think it's caring a lot about, I think, the best ways to celebrate being human and making sure that my energy is in a space where it is inspiring to other people, because I'm able to live and celebrate life and myself in a way that I think is harder for other people. So I'm always caring about being carefree.
Oh man, major blind spot. I had the others. Most people think Zach is. Yeah, this is a really interesting thing to do. What do you think other people think you are?
What do they think, Zach?
I was listening to a podcast the other day that was like you aren't what other people think you are. You are what you think other people think you are. I think that's the saying. I saw that on a
podcast. You can be under the spell of what
somewhere.
Other people think of you. That's where I struggle with collaboration.
Like you think,
because if somebody has a very specific
you are
idea of who I am, then I become that, and then it's like, I can't create to the degree that I would like to because you're turning me into something.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not going to question what came, but most people think Zach is finding it, but Zach is getting back to it.
Ooh, I love that.
So most people think Zach is seeking when Zach is reuniting.
Yeah, like if I can optimize and format all the different identities I've been kind of reincarnating through in the past 10, 15 years, it will be a return. Like it's really hard. Like some of the first things I ever wrote and recorded are superior to the latest things. And I'm just really trying to optimize. Yeah, the seeds I felt at the birth of my creative identity in ways I almost have needed my older self and support and reinforcements to like merge that. Yeah.
Hey, Kylie, I asked these guys last time. Clearly, you love your siblings, so I think we're in a safe space to say, you know, what ticks you off about them? What you know?
God!
What pushes your buttons? What does it take to make you? You know,
I think for you, it's like, I mean, it's what older siblings are supposed to do, but I think the intense, the pressure to maybe, I guess, make certain choices or live a certain type of way because you're looking out for my best interest puts a lot of pressure sometimes. But I know it's all from a place of care, but sometimes that's just like one thing where it's just like, oh, like God, like you don't ever want to let them down, but it's like, oh, sometimes you just kind of have to listen to how you're feeling. Otherwise you're living for at the expectation of somebody else. So sometimes that gets me. And then for you, what irritates me?
Pointing at Zach for those of you that are not watching.
Oh yeah.
Zach is not
Zach is
a very like
you're not like an
obtrusively
irritating person. But like if I had to pick something, I mean, what is it? I mean, not this is so uncomfortable. Like no one ever asked me these questions. Like it's so I can't be mean to them. Something that irritates me is like
But it's not about them, right? I mean, it may irritate you, but it's not like
That's
it's only
true.
because you created the button.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's not trying to irritate you.
That's
We're
true.
perfect.
That's
this
true.
is all your problem.
Maybe- yeah, that's true. Actually, it's good to remember. I mean, it's both what I think makes you beautiful, but also sometimes can irritate me depending on the day, or my patience will be you how you so excitedly will express certain ideas or things, just like the length of time on a given day. But it's very, you know what I mean? It's very
that's not for everyone at every time.
yes, like but that's not something to
But I think
worry
we're
about.
self-aware.
Yeah, I think
And
everyone
yeah, I
knows.
try.
You don't do that a lot.
Well, I think I'm getting better. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
energy can sometimes be best translated through songs,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
why you
necessarily.
spend so much time preparing it before you share it.
And also the engineering, like I can set up the mics quietly in a second, but I would drive both of them crazy talking about why. We got to use the RE20 on
Right.
these and the SM7B on you two guys, and I'll get the preamp going. We got to get the
Right.
Like if I tell them that, they'll be very annoyed. But if I just do it quietly with the same energy in my heart, they'll love how they sounded and be like,
And it looks
"That was
it's
good.
it's
Thanks."
great. It's appreciated.
And it's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
I know I've learned my friends that I can nerd out with about engineering, and it's not these two. Yeah, which is cool. That's fine. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I'm not gonna ask you guys what irritates you about her, because you know what, it's her first time. So
Okay.
No, you can. You can
It's
tell
about-
me.
shit.
No,
wanna
tell
know?
me. Yeah, I want to know. I want to
All right,
know.
here we
She
go.
knows what irritates me about her.
Oh,
She could probably answer it better than I could.
Oh my goodness.
like, no.
It's the same thing that
Actually-
irritates me about all actors, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So for any actors listening here, is just the
Should you wanna know
because you become so accustomed to shape shifting
Mm.
that there's a danger in who you become around certain people, and that to me is the great danger of young actors or actresses making their way through productions in Hollywood and coming in close proximity with that energy. And so I think a part of the older brotherhood is protecting the light and not letting it be influenced by a certain strand of stereotype that I don't want being fed more.
Mhm.
That's kind of like a really complicated way of saying it, but when you're more naturally social, and when that's more of a skill for you,
Yeah.
not being taken over by the community, still holding on to who you
I feel
are.
like because you've always said that, though, I always try to watch that.
Yeah.
But it has gotten harder as I'm getting older, and I am growing and changing. And then I like recently have been like, okay, who am I? What am I doing? Questioning, reevaluating sort of what is my intention here? What is my purpose? Who am I truly? What are my values? What speaks to my heart? Like I'm having to reconsider all these things just because I feel like I've been on a certain, working trajectory for so long. It's like I'm finally having these moments like in adulthood of stillness and being like, who is this?
That's what an older brother should be. We should be a little devil's advocate on your shoulder.
Oh God, please. I have that. I have you. I have mom. I'm like, oh my God.
You're that
No,
for
I'm
us.
totally-
I'm
totally my own.
But you also fly
Yeah.
off to foreign countries because you want to get away from everything.
I
and
do
so
do this.
when you're there, you have to be smart.
I do this. No, I think I do that to test myself, to really be like, okay, like let's like really see what I'm like, without. But but all of your voices get very much louder when I am by myself and I'm secluded. You guys are very present. Like mom, dad, you guys are there.
Whoa.
You are there every step of the way.
Kylie, I'm so curious. Can I ask you something?
Yes, of course.
What are you afraid
But we're
of?
here.
What are you afraid
What am
of?
I afraid of?
No.
What am I afraid of? Huh. I've been thinking about this question a lot to see what it really could be besides spiders. That's a very superficial answer right there. I'm terrified of spiders. Like, I can't do it. I don't know why.
The onset, that tells you not much.
Yeah.
If that's the
I don't
first
know.
thing that comes.
No, seriously. I'm like, I just don't like, a lot of people fear death. I don't fear death. I don't fear being alone. I mean, I guess I grapple with this. I feel like maybe I would fear being alone, like ending up completely alone. Like if everyone in the world like died and I was just like by myself on the planet, like that's kind of scary. That would be really intense. I think the thing that I fear is like grappling with certain emotions that I don't normally deal with. Like I'm having a little bit of that now, just like certain emotions that are underdeveloped or under expressed a lot. Like, you know, just having to deal with that is a very intense process. So I feel like maybe that would be it, because I'm not used to being alone. I have a big family, I have a lot of friends. Like I'm very used to having people. So yeah, probably if like there was an apocalypse and I was just like hanging out somewhere and they didn't touch me and I was alone on the planet. I don't know.
There's no rule that you have to fear something or that you have to look for the fear. I mean, the fear will fear. I think fear is great. Good. It's great in the way that it's a signpost to something. It's our edge, maybe, right? Where we come into our set, where we default to our primitive self because we fear the unknown, right? And we fear our safety. So it makes sense that in the bigger picture, when you're looking for it, you're gonna conjure up, an apocalyptic visual filmic thing. It's so interesting, right? That we sort of we ascribe like, oh, shouldn't I be afraid of something?
I definitely fear the unknown. That's a very quick and easy, not easy, but like it's very abstract, but it's simple, like totally the unknown. I absolutely fear the unknown. I stress about it on a daily basis.
If you didn't know what was happening tomorrow, or if that apocalypse was happening tomorrow, what would you do today? What would you do differently today?
Ooh. So I've been in this sort of headspace of like trying to gain certain information as I've been moving through about who I am. And I feel like that's enough in itself. I feel like every day you're a step further in whatever personal journey it is, whether it's figuring out yourself, whether you want to be a better person, whether you want to be a kinder person. I think that every day is a starting point for that. So if you finish your day and you achieved one of the things that you set out for, then you did it. Then you did it, and you can die tomorrow, and it's okay because you've had so many steps leading up to that point that have been successful. I think beautiful. Everything is perfect the way it's supposed to be.
Yep. Okay, I got to do rapid fire, then I'm gonna let you go. And do you want to go 1, 2, 3, or do you want to like
ZKJ?
Yeah,
ZKJ.
Cool.
ZKJ. Okay, ready? What makes you hungry?
Food.
French fries.
Lasagna.
What makes you sad?
Nothing.
Love.
Grief.
What inspires you?
Everything.
Love.
Galaxy.
What frustrates you?
Stuff.
What'd you say?
Stuff.
My mom.
Gatekeepers.
What makes you laugh?
Kylie just now.
My brothers.
I just think of comedians' names. Bill Burr, Chappelle.
Bill Burr.
What makes you angry, Zach?
Fire.
Makes me angry. Injustice.
Lying.
Ooh.
And finally, what makes you grateful?
What's here?
What makes you grateful?
What's here in this? Yeah, and the space between it not being here and that is here.
Everything.
Family.
Cool. You guys are the best. Top 3 things that happened
You are the
today.
best.
Yeah.
Top 3
things that
things.
happened today.
One top thing that happened today. Go.
Oh.
This talk.
Yeah, this talk.
Okay, you're not allowed to say this talk.
Okay,
Thank
fine.
you.
What was a great thing?
it's like we said before, but I was hearing a song that I hadn't been able to hear in that way yet, and so
The final edits.
yeah,
you mean?
final edits of something we're excited to release.
Almost final.
I am going to be a video game character for a PlayStation video game. So I was just in the studio doing the voiceover stuff for that, and that's always a really, really good time.
so
But
cool.
I think something cool that happened was I got frustrated at a point in the process trying to get a certain product, and then having a conversation, and then just realizing that there's no one thing that's good or the other takes are bad. It's all options, and they're all kind of like, you're just always giving different versions of things, so even if they're not like, okay, that was it, that doesn't mean that everything that you just did was trash. It's all different options. And so I think hearing that, made me feel a lot settled about any work that I do.
Cool. What a great way to finish. You guys, you have mic drop. She nailed it.
Very nice.
You guys,
This was
such a
so
pleasure.
fun.
So nice.
Thank you so
to
much
see
for
you,
having us
and
and
so nice
hosting
chatting.
Yeah, this
again.
was amazing.
I've been speaking today with Josh, Zach, and Kylie Liya Page. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm Lisa Hopkins. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. And remember to live in the moment. In music, stop time is that beautiful moment where the band is suspended in rhythmic unison, supporting the soloist to express their individuality. In the moment, I encourage you to take that time and create your own rhythm. Until next time, I'm Lisa Hopkins. Thanks for listening.